The end of the cycle is getting a huge revamp, utilizing the new auras and shroud panel. And because it was so rare before, we now get an origin that will guarantee the end of the cycle, so you can find true peace in the galaxy. We also get information on the new Civic Entropy Drinkers, stealing population's life to buff up your leaders. Then we have information on Proxy Wars. Yes, that's right, Proxy Wars. A new addition to Subterfuge, and there's a Civic that gives huge buffs to it. In this video, I'll run down the entire dev diary, explain it all, and give my thoughts. It's a big one, so let's get into it. The end is near. The end of the cycle is not a crisis. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to end all things. This immediately tells me it's not going to be in the crisis tab then, but let's keep reading. It'll probably tell us. We have this screenshot here. It looks like they're worshipping the sky that's kind of dying / bringing death. With the caption, "This too shall pass." Today we'll be looking at the end of things and the remaining civics, and an addition to Subterfuge, Proxy Wars. Oh my gosh, they might actually make Subterfuge useful. The Endbringers and the end of the cycle. The Endbringers are a challenging and doomed origin. Mysterious calamity turned a neighbouring planet into a shrouded world, and your people have been cursed with a sense of foreboding and growing paranoia ever since. As predicted, this origin will probably start you off related to the end of the cycle somehow, so it's guaranteed in that game, because I've never actually had it before, and I like that we can just pick an origin to do it if you want to do it. It is not yet your time, but it could be. We then have a bunch of screenshots here, so let's get into it. With the Fairy Lion mandate, with the Endbringers origin. We are the harbingers of cataclysm. During the dawn of Fairy Lion's civilization, a mysterious calamity befell our nearest celestial neighbour. Its sudden and brutal transformation filled the night skies with a malevolent purple sky, stirring within our people a dread that we will one day suffer a similar fate. With each passing generation, the suffocating fear of potential annihilation tightened its grip upon us. Now, as Feralians take to the star, we're drawn to explore this shrouded world. The answers we have craved for centuries are tantalizingly within reach. Still, many among us, warn us that our obsessive fascination with the source of this destructive power may ultimately lead to our own end. Soon enough, we will lift the final veil. We then get the origin giving us a warning challenging, and it blocks all Ascension paths except for Psionic Ascension, so you have to do Psionic Ascension with this. We have two penalties. We start with the Paranoia modifier, and we cannot form or join a federation because it would probably break things. You cannot be pacifist, gestalt, chosen civic, or be machine. Makes sense. The Paranoia modifier for each chamber of silence reduces negative effects by 10%. Happiness minus 5%. So I'm presuming Paranoia gets worse as it goes on then. Then we have an event. Mission to Honorius Descent. Exploratory satellites orbiting Honorius Descent have identified a promising target for our first crewed mission to the surface of this shrouded world. The landing zone emanates a strange radiation that ripples across the planet, carried forth on ultraviolet winds. There are many Feralians who protest against this mission in fear of unleashing the same curse upon our homeworld. Their concerns are not without justification. The overriding need to understand this distant phenomenon must take precedent. If we are fated to one day suffer the same calamity, at least we will die knowing why. A search for answers begin now. So it looks like you don't start immediately as the end of cycle. You're probably going to have to search, maybe a dig site, maybe anomaly, maybe something, situation, and we'll slowly get to it or get it straight after. Who knows? So you could potentially play this origin and never get it, potentially, maybe? I don't know. The caption. Should you not act to quell it, your empire's paranoia grows over time up to a maximum of 50%, which I believe is the happiness, and minus 50% happiness. But you can reduce that with Chamber of Silences, so maybe you could just do a no end of cycle and bring an origin, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. If you're thinking about buying Shadows of the Shroud or any other Paradox DLC or game, make sure to use mine or another creator's code or link. My code is EP3O Stellaris, that's case sensitive, or my link is in the description and pinned comment. Gives us creators a kickback at no extra expense for you, and you just get a Steam code from Paradox themselves. It's much appreciated. Now back to the video. Endbringers soon discover an archaeological site at the Shrouded World. But there we go, it's a dig site that will provide a few answers, but will guide you towards your dark patron. As a madness-consumed doomsday cult, your journey through Psionic Ascension will differ a little from more conventional paths. No Ascension path is needed for them to pursue Psionic Ascension. This decision was already made for you long ago. Okay, no Ascension perk needed. That is very nice. Usually that's the hold up. Could you just go this as a first tradition then? Like Psionic straight away? Love to see. Another whole load of screenshots, let's break them down. First, we have a Realm of Madness. Research into the recently discovered field field of psionics has confirmed the existence of hitherto unseen dimensions of reality, to which our minds are the gateway. Beyond the veil lies a realm of chaos we struggle to understand. From within the depths, a voice beckons. Its promise is not of salvation, but of a new beginning. To wield its unknowable power would be to abandon all we were, and to forge a fate inscribed by the fabric of madness itself. It is time with some sick art on it. This will unlock the psionic tradition tree. Okay, so you need the realm of madness first. You get the madness modifier added. Oh, this is where the negatives come from. Each chamber of silence reduces negative effects by 10%, minus 15 stability, 20% pop upkeep, 25% amenity usage. So if you don't do it, you probably are going to suffer, because you probably can't build enough chamber of silences to completely reduce that. Then have a situation, Psionic Ascension. So this is, I believe, going down the psionic path, right? Something has awoken inside us. We are only beginning to understand the implications. By unlocking these psionic abilities latent in all Feralians, we can transcend the limitations of our physical existence. You get 200% monthly unity and 10 Dro by going Forsaken Flesh modifier. Oh, you lose 25 pops per month. I wouldn't do that if I were you. And you get 100% situation speed. Maybe not. But yeah, that's the Psionic Ascension situation that's new. For any Psionic Ascension, but you get different approaches for the end. Lobotomy reports. Some Feralians are struggling to live in harmony with the presence of the voice. Desperate for peace, the weakest among us, have resorted to crude and unregulated lobotomy procedures. Such practices threaten to become widespread if no action is taken. Let the weak do what they must, or the voice is a gift. Ban this practice. So if that's a gift, the situation progresses by 100. That's quite nice. But you get 10% less resource from jobs for 5 years. I guess rushing it down would stop the negatives of the madness, potentially? I don't know. Interesting though, it looks like Psionic Ascension is custom for Endbringers and End of Cycle, or maybe just Endbringers. Your Cyclops in the Tradition tree are also replaced with the Chamber of Silence. Okay, so the Cyclops are Chamber of Silence. So to get Chamber of Silences, you need to go the Tradition. So if you don't go it, you can't reduce the negatives. More screenshots. So we have Cult of the Voice. Once the voice is heard, it cannot be ignored. We yield to its will. Unlocks the building Chamber of Silence. That's where we get it from the Tradition then. Chamber of Silence has a planet limit of 1, so if you have lots of planets, you can reduce the effects more. You get +5 stability and 200 telepath jobs, pretty much the same as the Cyclops. However, this reduces the effect of paranoia and madness by 10%, so those are two different things. So you still have that minus happiness too. This building will be destroyed if the colony is lost, so you can't get this building by doing some funky war claim stuff. Telepaths turn energy into unity, plunge defense armies reduce crime. They're producing 51 unity. That's quite a lot. 2 defense armies and -20 crime. Not a bad building. You probably want to spam them on every planet that you have. The Great Awakening, Psionic Ascension. This is going into the 3rd tier. In the Chamber of Silence, we hear the message of the voice with perfect clarity. All will be reborn. We understand now. The end is a rebirth. We must not fear it. We will be remade. Better, more powerful than we ever imagined we could be. To seize this destiny, we must learn to master the mental realm known as the Shroud. We'll not repeat the mistakes of those we found on the Shrouded World, where they rejected their fear. We will embrace it. Our vision is fully clear. The Shroud holds the key. I really want to know if you can just reject it and you just die, I guess. Your entry into the Shroud itself differs a bit as well, as you have already been claimed. Okay, so yeah, even this bit is new or different to normal Psionic Ascension. The Trial of Silence. We descend into the Shroud, a unified will helping to silence the chaotic noise that would distract us from our goal, the cataclysmic entity. But purpose alone cannot shield us. Voices whisper empty platitudes, indulging us with paltry distractions, each more meaningless than the last, but all equally tempting. As we begin to fracture, the entity returns. A single command reverberates through the void. Silence. Fall silent and endure. So they're trying to pull you away, but the end is too strong. A perfectly silent galaxy awaits, saturated in the inevitability of the aura of the end. Forming this covenant changes the conventional Shroud UI to a ticking clock, counting down the moments until the end of your story. Oh, so if you haven't seen, this UI is usually a kind of like a political compass for the Shroud, where you move across to different points, but they've revamped so that it's only the end. And we can see that we have the aura of the end with 0 out of 591 systems, but we're getting 30% upkeep reduction of some sort and then 100%, I think, job efficiency. Hostiles take more orbital bombardment damage, less stability, and more upkeep. So it just nerfs them and buffs you. And then we have a bunch of things: 10k energy, 9k resources, 5k energy, 3k pops, 13k energy, 1 envoy, 20k energy, and then war. Not sure what they're doing. Hopefully we get told. But you can see they can only activate the first one, which is 10k energy. Maybe as time progresses, you can do more. Let's see what it says. As the cycle progresses, you will gain more Covenant powers, including some that will let you stall for time. Okay, so they're probably using the ticking situation, and the more you progress with that situation, the more you get. But maybe you need to reduce time, because if you haven't done whatever they want, you might lose. Can you lose this origin? Powers that reduce the end of cycle situation progress can only be used once per game, though while the end is patient, it is relentless. Okay, so there does seem like there's an end and win condition here. End of the cycle. Oh my gosh, this screenshot is insane. Oh, there's a lot. Okay, end of the cycle. A covenant with the end of the cycle grants us untold power and tasks us with glorious purpose. The will of our patron demands complete annihilation of this reality. With each system the aura of the end consumes, the closer merciful oblivion comes to pass. And we get the effect the intensity gain goes up. As you know, auras is new from a previous dev diary. You can spread them. It looks like to win, you need probably all of the systems with the aura of the end. We're currently on Bring the Inevitable. There's 4 stages. You can stall for time and you can delay our destiny. So you can probably maybe slow down this ticking situation that starts at 1. We have the aura of the end here, emitted by our Empire, and it will consume the system in 56 months. The intensity is at 628 out of 700, and it has plus 142. The aura effects become more powerful as intensity level increases. You're getting a mining station and research station output, and the Empire effects gives us 166% mining and research, 20% upkeep reduction, and more resource from jobs. Hostile effects, monthly hull damage to non-orbiting ships plus 10. What the hell does non-orbiting ships mean? Was that like stationed? Stability minus 12 and upkeep from jobs plus 24. So it nerfs hostiles, buffs you. And I think because the mining station and research 100% is not in either of those, I think regardless it gives 100% to both, potentially. I don't know. Then we have what all of the things do, and we can match them up a bit. So the first one is this planet creation, Covenant power. Create a Gaia world with 1,000 pops in our capital system. What? 10,000 energy. That's the first one. You get that at the start. That's incredible because you can put more of those buildings on as well, which reduce the negative effects. In these waning years, the end of cycle's grip on reality strengthens. Whole worlds from other dimensions can be brought into this one, feeding even more into the inevitable nothingness. Can you use that once, or does it have a cooldown? Okay. The next one's the planet with the clock annihilation. End of cycle situation progress minus 60, and it costs 9,000 of each resource. So it's not giving us these resources, that's how much it costs. Oblivion can never be sated, but its maw lies ever open. So we do know that this can only be used once. And if the tick is 1 every month, like in the first screenshot of this collection of screenshots, that is about 60 months reduction, unless that number can change. The next one is fractalization. Research station output and mining station output within our psionic order plus 100% for 5,000 energy. It's alright, it's not awful. Maybe that's where the mining station and research station was coming from actually. And it's only, oh no, that is it for everyone though, because it just says within the aura. So if you have lots of arc furnace and Dyson swarms, and if you're going around killing and taking lots of systems, you probably will, you're going to get a lot more resources. The Aura of the End twists portions of our physical reality into the shroud, granting unexplored volumes with which to spiral outward. Once these threads are established, they remain in place until the end arrives. That's kind of implying that that stays forever, right? Yeah. Okay, the next is extermination effects. Pops killed for our own colonies 3,000, but you reduce 120 of the situation, which could be 120 months. So you're sacrificing pops to give yourself more time. I like these because like you probably don't want to do them, but you might have to. The sacrifice of life will appease the end of the cycle for a time. What's inevitable can only be delayed, never averted. Distortion. Athletes can hyper jump at twice the range without suffering negative effects for the next 2 years. Costs 15,000 energy. That's situationally very good, because if you're really trying to take the galaxy quickly, jumping around can be really strong, and at twice the range can be crazy. You can just take people's capitals and you don't get the negative effects where you lose 50% fire rate, your shields. I can't remember what else, but the negative effects of jumping into someone's capital is quite a lot if they have a fleet. That's very cool. The end of the cycle's influence warps the very fabric of space and time, opening new pathways with which to spread its will. Obviously, it's only useful if you have jump drives too. Destruction. An own colony with at least 1,500 pops becomes a shrouded world. End of the cycle situation progress minus 180. So you can't just sacrifice a small planet. You do get that Gaia world. Hopefully it's not that one. And I don't really know what a shrouded world does in this DLC. They've not really talked about it. But I'm presuming it's bad because all the other ones have been a negative to you, not a positive. Home is a temporary. The favor of the end of the cycles is eternal. The inevitable of nothingness exposes the redundancy of life. Well, I think your planet becomes uncolonizable then. Intensification. Increase Psionic aura intensity gains by plus 50 and disable all shroud seals in the galaxy for 3 years. So if you've got a problem with shroud seals stopping you spread the auras, we found out before the shroud seals can stop these auras, it will just bypass it for 3 years. For a cost of 20,000 energy. If you're struggling to win, maybe you can whack that on. Nothing can stifle the inevitability of the aura of the end. Great surge of will, the path to oblivion is laid open for all. And then the last one. Declare war with a total war caster spell against all non-fallen empires. End of cycle situation progress minus 240. So this is a last resort, and it lets you just take all their land without having to claim if you don't have total war goal. So it's actually not too bad if you can fight everyone. I really like these. It's a bit different to the Become the Crisis. It has its own mechanics and it's in the Shroud panel, but it kind of is a crisis, really. But it seems quite fun and cool. Should you blanket enough of the galaxy in the aura of the end, you will be permitted to rest in a perfected universe. The text is in red too. Should you fail, the reckoning will consume you. So yeah, you need to kill, or at least spread the aura everywhere, or you die and lose. The Endbringers are not the only way to form a covenant with the end of cycle. The old way, countering them conventionally, still exists. This will also switch your Shroud UI over to the ticking clock, but will not change your Cyclops. Okay, so you can still do this naturally and then do this crisis thing, which is so cool. It's way better than before, which I think you just had to keep declaring wars or you die and you get bonuses. But you don't get the Chambers of Silence, which is fine because you won't have the paranoia or madness, I'm presuming. So I think that's fine. Moving on from that origin, which seems very, very cool. Can't wait to play it. So subscribe so you can see me play it. Is one of the new Civics Entropy Drinkers. The Entropy Drinkers Civic enabled the transfer of life energy from the populace to the Empire's leaders. Oh, leader Civic. Again, lots of screenshots, and this is available for every type of Empire. Let's break down the normal Empire type. This will block all Ascension paths except for Psionic Ascension. The society drains a valuable metabolism from idle population via parasitic psychic connections. Once properly collected, these energies can be redistributed to the more important classes. You get the following edicts: Energy Drain, Sanguine Council, Convergence of Will, and you can construct the Leeching Tower. Leaders also start with the Psychic trait, which is probably why you have to go Psionic Ascension. However, you get negative 10% resource from jobs, research speed, and pop growth speed, and mechanical assembly speed. That's rough. Your leaders get minus 50% upkeep and plus 50% leader lifespan though. Council position, Energy Creator gives leader XP gain by 5%, Empire energy generation per 100 pops, 0.02. So if you have lots of pops, you get more energy, which I don't know how long that will take to counteract the massive negatives you're getting. The research speed, resource from jobs, and pop growth speed is harsh. That is available for commanders, scientists, and officials, and you cannot be egalitarian, have memorialist, or mind warden's origin. And to reform into it, you need psionic theory. So you can reform into this, and it has a tech requirement, and I don't know if any other Civic does that. I like that because it doesn't lock it. Good job. I like that a lot. The MegCorp is almost identical, just with the law and flavor change a bit. Instead of building the Leeching Tower, you build the Synergy headquarters, and instead of giving energy generation per 100 pops, you get trade per 100 pops. So this could be an insane scaling trade civilian build, you know, these things that scale per pops and you just build loads of pops, but the assembly will hurt. We also have the same for Hive. Again, just the law changed. However, you do get growth node experience gain and you get Empire energy generation 0.1. So it's a flat 0.1 instead of per level going up by 0.02. So the normal one would outscale it after level 5, but you get a flat 0.1 per pops. It just says per pops. I'm presuming that's per 100. Again, you can reform into it with Psionic Theory. And it's the same for machines, literally identical, except for the fact they construct a siphon battery instead. I'm presuming that's just law changed and they'll do the same thing, but we'll see. These empires possess edicts that further empower their leaders by siphoning additional life energy from the populace. Conversion of Will Edict has both unity and Zro upkeep. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Energy drain. The population is required to have essence harvesting implants installed and inspected on a regular basis. They must be capable of being activated at a moment's notice. Lasts until cancelled. Leaders will never die of old age. Sounds really strong until you see pop growth speed minus 36%. What? I can't lie, except for roleplay, I don't see anyone using that. Maybe late game, but pops are always important because of civilians now. Sanguine Council. Regular fluid tests are mandated for the whole population, though which vital energy is extracted for the benefit of the Empire's governing council. Lasts until cancelled. Council agenda speed plus 25%. Again, that's pretty nice, but you get less pop growth speed. I can see honestly, I need to write this idea down, but we can make the ultimate leader build with the Civic because you can spam agendas with the council agenda speed to get XP, and then you get like a massively leveled up leader that gives you loads of energy or trade per job. But the pop growth speed minus 16% just hurts. Pop growth speed's just so important. Pops are the most important resource. Then we have the final one, Conversion of Will, that costs Zro as well as Unity. With significant mental effort, we can awaken even greater power within our leaders. Effective council skill plus 3. Insane, especially combined with the council position it has. But pop growth speed minus 56%. What? Considering you're already getting a negative to it, I don't know. These edicts in the Civic, it seems very gimmicky or roleplay based. Mechanically, meh. But I'm fine with roleplay Civics because it's a single player game, guys. Like, it doesn't have to be meta all the time. Having plenty of energy thralls will also reduce the pop growth speed penalties of these edicts. Okay. Yeah, because we have not seen what the leeching tower does, which I'm presuming gives energy thralls. I don't entirely know. They have not shown it. If you can reduce those negative modifiers, they could be good. We'll probably be using it for making the ultimate leader build. Proxy Wars and Secret Societies. Proxy Wars allow empires to incite conflicts between other civilizations via the diplomacy menu. Oh, yes. This might be the best thing added here. Requiring high trust or infiltration. Oh, it gives... Oh, this sounds so good. This sounds so good. With potential diplomatic consequences if discovered. Yes. There's a positive, there's a negative. You can use trust, you can use infiltration, which means you can be nice to people or you can spy on them. This might be it. This might save subterfuge. I have a screenshot here. Security lies in uncovering the secrets of others and keeping our own well guarded. Adoption effects. Unlocks the agenda, uncover secrets. Subterfuge related technologies appear at 5 times the normal rate. Operation infiltration cost minus 25%. Code breaking plus 1. This is the subterfuge tradition tree. I don't know how much of this has changed, but finisher effects. Adopting all subterfuge traditions grant successful operations refund 50% of their infiltration level cost. Cloaking strength plus 1. Gain access to Proxy Wars. So subterfuge tradition, even though I actually like subterfuge because the tracking and evasion is very nice, but you get access to Proxy Wars from this. Don't know if it'll be a tech then. Maybe you have to go subterfuge. Proxy Wars. Proxy Wars require trust or infiltration and influence to trigger. When starting a proxy war, you can select the casus belli. Oh, you wish to manipulate the attacker into using. Oh my gosh, you can make people like vassalize people. Oh yes. Though some cost more trust or infiltration and influence than other. That's fair. Balance it away. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Start proxy war. Attackers and defenders. So you can invite these 3 attackers. There's a tick next to 2 of them. So I'm guessing we have the infiltration or trust. And then we can set a war goal. You can impose, oh my gosh, you could impose ideologies, which means you could like force people to be peaceful on your border and then it's fine. Or you could, I'm just thinking of so much. You know the Galactic Crusade Civic, I can't remember what it's called. You can attack people to make them that. Then you could make them attack other people for you and go on crusades for you and make the whole galaxy. Oh, yes. Proxy war. Selecting this casus belli will cost the following 60 influence. That's not even that much. Trust, I think that's with us, goes down by 30, but it's fine, you're making wars. And then we have the defender, then we have declare attackers with respective war goal to begin this conflict. You have to click one of those to start. And then you can see the Virax is friendly, they have 100 trust, they have 1 system, 5.1k pops, friendly, superior, economy. Is that to them or to us, but that looks incredible. This is exactly what Subterfuge needed. Something tangible, something actionable, something that shows up on the screen that, you know, does stuff, rather than, oh, you might have stolen a technology, oh, you might have lowered relations by 20, but it doesn't really matter. This is insane. In general, when manipulating other nations, it's best to select a cause for war that corresponds with their inherent biases and desires, so they seek to achieve their war goals rather than accepting a status quo early. Of course, yeah, you can't control when they peace out, so they might not do anything, but you can cause chaos on your borders or across the galaxy. Secret society civics grant earlier access to proxy wars and introduce covert actors who influence galactic affairs from the shadows. You've added a civic to go along with the mechanic, I love it. So this can only be done by Megacorp or a normal empire. Secret societies. A cabal of elite and secretive figures weave complicated political threads behind the scenes of this society, twining internal affairs with those of other worlds. Clandestine factions will emerge after contacting other empires. Starts with the ability to conduct proxy wars. Bureaucrats will produce unity per active and successful proxy war. What's a successful proxy war? Your person has to win, I guess. That's insane. You can infinitely scale them almost. Oh no, this is just good. Starts in first contact with two neighboring empires. Oh my word, the Civic is like an origin. I find origins are like starters to a mechanic. So we had the end of cycle. We had Psionic machines. This is just like an origin, but the Civic is a starter to proxy wars because you start in contact with people, you get buffs per proxy war, and we haven't even finished reading. And your infiltration level gained on empires after first contact plus 40. So you can just do the proxy wars almost straight away on any first contact. That's not just those, that's any first contact, I think. Modifiers. Proxy war influence cost minus 25%. Operation cost minus 50%. You get an extra envoy and more encryption. Holy moly. Council position. Per level, you get 1 base intel level, 1 diplomatic weight, and 2.5% operation speed. Yeah. Wait, so we could make like insane leaders and have this council position that gives us insane base intel, diplo weight, operation speed, and just sit in the corner, make people attack each other. This is one of the best civics and mechanics they might have added for a long time because it just opens up so much in the galaxy. Oh, it's good for roleplay. It's probably good for meta too. Can't go wrong with it. I don't know what the factions do though, so maybe they'll tell us. These mysterious factions are revealed upon establishing communication with their contacts, each driven by priorities markedly different from standard factions. Oh yes, we get to know what they do. First up, strange contacts. There are those among us, who operate behind the curtains of diplomacy. Now we suspect their reach is not limited to our homeworld. Despite only recently venturing into the stars, we have entered communications with other life forms with remarkable ease. This seems like more than a coincidence. We suspect that these interstellar relations originate behind the closed doors of several secret factions that have deeply embedded themselves with our society. Perhaps once we know more about these beings, those within our shadows will reveal themselves. Are they with us or against us? Secret societies emerge. Our suspicions have been justified. Tezan and Miverandian civilizations have confirmed they have been contacted through unofficial channels before more formal communications began. These factions now emerge from our own shadows and acknowledge their existence. Known as the Curtain, the Masquerade, and the Grand Dance, these once secret organizations are now openly requesting formal dialogue with us. What they want and how they know what they know may never be truly understood by us. It may be in our best interest to operate within their demands. So I don't think they're going to destroy you, but they're just very secretive. You don't know what's going on. Then we have the faction page. Okay, they have custom symbols. The Curtain, the Masquerade, the Grand Dance. They still have approval, they still have size, they still have support. They have ethics tied to them, issues, and then you can see effects. That's trust on the bottom, that's diplomatic weight, and I'm guessing that's infiltration speed. So each one buffs that too. Oh wow. And then we're on the Grand Dance. The Grand Dance exercises a carefully choreographed series of steps and turns designed to weave their way through political environments while remaining untouched. So that's the trust one, and they have, believe these are custom issues: careful footwork, playing both sides, all-seeing eye, an innocent prank, whispering in the dark, shadow puppetry, the right choice, ruler of their ethic, representation on the council. So they still have the representation and ruler, adding to the approval, but they have what seems to be custom issues that we don't know what it does. If I were to guess, it should be about diplomacy with these people, or like building trust. And hopefully it's like that, because that would be very nice. And you could maybe push one more than the other. If you need diplomatic weight, you do a lot of the diplomatic weight stuff. Interestingly, the Masquerade do not have any missions or issues, probably because there's no galactic community, if I were to guess. So they'll probably get them as that goes on. I've now very hyped. And we have one more dev diary to go. On Fizzy, we'll be getting the release notes for 4.1, and then Shadows of the Shroud, of course, with 4.1, will be released on Monday. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that. We will be going hard on the content, and it's much appreciated. Click this video that YouTube's recommending you, and I'll see you there.